Hello, my dears. My name is Natalie Heartwood, and I love sharing heartwarming stories by the fireplace. Ready to listen? Today, my story is about the power of Christmas wishes and the strength of true love. Get comfortable and let's begin. A Mother for Christmas. Part 1. Snowfall and Strangers. Snow had been falling since dawn, dusting the December world in soft white powder and muting the sound of the city. The air smelled of pine wreaths, chimney smoke, and approaching holidays, an atmosphere that made even the busiest streets look gentler, wrapped in winter's hush. Jackie Morgan stepped onto the train platform with the sharp decisiveness of a woman used to schedules bending to her will. Her heels clicked briskly across the icy ground, her wool coat draped elegantly around her tall, poised figure. She was 39, polished, self-possessed, and enviably successful. A senior attorney with her own firm, the kind of woman who negotiated million-dollar inheritances before lunch and still made time for a late evening wine at a rooftop bar. But this morning had been a disaster. Her luxury car had sputtered, coughed, and died in her driveway, refusing to start no matter how many times she turned the key. Her mechanic was unavailable. Her driver was out of town. And she had a crucial meeting, potentially the biggest case of the year. So, here she was, on a public train she hadn't set foot on in over a decade. She boarded with an exhale of annoyance, brushing snowflakes from her dark hair, tight in a business-like bun. She sank into a window seat and opened her leather briefcase, ready to study the latest documents. The train lurched forward. A moment later, a woman approached, a plainly dressed lady in a beige coat that had seen better years. Beside her stood a little girl, thin and small, clutching a worn-out plush duck whose seams had long surrendered their shape. "Excuse me," she said softly. "May we sit here?" Jackie forced a polite smile. Of course. The woman thanked her and settled beside her, placing the child near the window. Jackie tried to return to her papers, but something tugged at the corner of her vision. The girl. Her eyes were the first thing Jackie noticed. Large, grayish blue, the color of a winter sky just before snow begins to fall. Beautiful, but distant, as though she were looking at something far beyond the world in front of her. Jackie stole another glance. The girl sat rigidly, hands wrapped around the flattened plush duck whose seams had long surrendered their shape. Its curly, light blonde hair fell across her cheeks. She did not blink much. She simply stared. Jackie tried to focus on her documents, but those eyes, so hollow, so silent, kept pulling her attention. Then it happened. Without warning, the little girl turned, looked directly at Jackie, and her face transformed. A spark of recognition, relief, joy. She lunged forward and threw her arms around Jackie's neck, nearly knocking the briefcase off her lap. "Mammy!" the girl cried. "Mammy! Mama!" Jackie froze. The carriage went still. A few passengers glanced over. Jackie carefully placed her hands on the girl's shoulders, trying to steady both the child and her own racing heart. "Honey," she said gently, "I'm not..." But the girl only tightened her grip, pressing her cheek against Jackie's coat, as though afraid she might vanish. The social worker hurried to pull the child back. "Anna, sweetheart, no. Remember what we talked about." "I want Mama," the girl whispered, and her small voice cracked. Jackie swallowed hard. "I'm so sorry," the social worker said. smoothing the girl's hair as she coaxed her back to her seat. She's been like this since the accident." "Accident?" Jackie echoed quietly. The woman nodded. "Her mother passed away 2 weeks ago. A car crash. Anna survived, but she hasn't spoken to anyone except shadows. Sometimes she talks to people who aren't there. And when she saw you, she hesitated, lowering her voice. She thought you were her." Jackie blinked, taken aback, unsettled, strangely touched. "She's being transferred to St. Bartholomew's School," the social worker added. "It's more of a long-term shelter for children without families." The little girl suddenly reached out again, her small fingers brushing Jackie's sleeve. Then she reached higher, toward Jackie's hair, tugging gently until the neat bun loosened and fell into soft waves. "You look like her," she whispered, pulling a small photo from her pocket, a worn picture of a young woman smiling in the summer sun. Jackie gasped. The resemblance was startling. Same hair color, same eyes, same shape of face. The train slowed. Jackie's station. She rose slowly, torn somewhere deep inside. The little girl hugged the plush duck tightly, watching her with wide, trembling eyes. "Mama!" She whispered again, so faintly Jackie could barely hear it. The social worker stood, tugging gently at the girl's arm. "Come, Anna, let's go to the restroom before our stop." They left. Jackie stepped off the train. The cold air hit her face like a wake-up slap. She tried to shake it off. She had a meeting, a career, a reputation. But as she walked toward the courthouse, the little girl's voice echoed through her mind like a crack in the winter quiet. "Mammy, Mama, Mammy." Part 2. Echoes That Don't Fade. The meeting went flawlessly. Of course it did. Jackie Morgan didn't allow anything less. She stepped into the conference room with the same cool confidence she always carried, shaking off the morning's turbulence. Her hair was fixed, her expression sharp, her arguments precise. By the time the negotiations concluded, her clients were practically glowing with gratitude. Another victory, another case that would strengthen her already impeccable reputation. She should have felt triumphant. But the moment she left the building, the winter wind cut through her coat, and with it came an image she couldn't shake. A small girl with gray-blue eyes whispering "Mama" into her collar. Jackie exhaled, fog curling from her lips in the icy air. It was just shock, she told herself. Trauma. Children cling to strangers sometimes. But logic didn't stop the knot in her chest, nor did it silence the tiny voice she thought she had forgotten the moment the meeting began. Soft, fragile, pleading. "Mama, don't leave." She shook her head, walking briskly to the taxi stand. She had work, clients, court hearings, a life fine-tuned like clockwork. She didn't have the space or desire for emotional entanglements. And certainly not for what? A child? The idea was absurd. She almost laughed aloud. When she reached her townhouse, she dropped her keys into the dish guard the door and kicked off her heels. The place was immaculate. High ceilings, elegant furniture, soft leather, glass, clean lines. A beautiful house, architecturally perfect, and absolutely devoid of life. It echoed when she walked. She poured herself a glass of wine, sat by the window, watched the snow thicken the world outside. But instead of enjoying the quiet, she found herself replaying the scene in the train, again and again, as though her mind refused to release it. The girl's tiny hands wrapped around her neck, the soft curls brushing her cheek, the photograph. Her mother looking so much like her. Jackie closed her eyes, forcing back the warmth, dangerous, too dangerous, that threatened to soften her chest. "This is ridiculous," she muttered. "I met her once. That's all." But the wine tasted bitter tonight, and the house felt even colder. The days that followed. For the next 3 days, Jackie tried to bury herself in work. She drafted contracts with ruthless precision, held meetings, cross-examined clients, wrote strategies deep into the night. But it didn't help. Every time her pen paused, every time she caught her reflection in a window or mirror, she saw those blue-gray eyes staring back at her. Lost, pleading, trusting. Mama. She'd wake with a start some nights, convinced she'd heard a child calling from another room. She would sit up in bed, heart pounding, before reality trickled in. Her house was silent. Her house was always silent. On the 4th day, she finally caved. Not in a dramatic way, not in a moment of emotional collapse. It happened in the quiet lull between cases when she typed St. Bartholomew's School for Children into the search bar. At first, she told herself it was curiosity, a simple check-in, a professional interest in the institution that had custody of the girl. But when the school's website loaded, a modest page with outdated photos and minimal detail, her breath caught. And when she saw a small announcement about new arrivals for the winter term, her heartbeat quickened. She clicked, scrolled, stopped. There it was. Anna Miller, 6 years old, admitted 3 days ago. Status, orphaned. A sharp ache twisted in Jackie's chest. Her fingers lingered on the screen. Then a thought, a wild, irrational, reckless thought slipped in. I should see her. Just once. It was objectively a terrible idea, illogical, disruptive, emotional. But Jackie Morgan, for all her rationality, couldn't unsee that little girl's trembling arms around her neck. And it was almost Christmas, and snow had a way of changing things, softening edges, shifting hearts, whispering possibilities into the world. Before she knew it, she was calling the school. Her professional tone, her reputation, and her legal credentials opened doors without resistance. The staff was polite, even eager. An attorney visiting was always welcome. And so, with a purposeful stride she didn't fully understand, Jackie packed a small bag of gifts, books, warm gloves, a soft scarf, and a new plush duck, and drove through the snow-covered outskirts of the city toward the old brick building that housed the children no one was coming for this Christmas. Part 3. Christmas Miracle. The doors of St. Barnabas Orphanage were heavier than Jackie had expected. As she pushed one open, the air inside smelled of hot cocoa, pine branches, and something old, as if time itself moved slower here than in the outside world. Christmas was approaching, but the hallways were unusually quiet. Children at the orphanage rarely made true noise. Each of them carried their own storm inside. At the reception desk sat a woman in a reindeer sweater, elderly, with soft but attentive eyes. "Good evening. How can I help you?" she asked. I'm here for a little girl, Anna Ridley," Jackie said, firmer than she felt. The woman raised her eyebrows, barely noticeably. "Are you a relative?" "No, but..." Jackie swallowed. "I met her on the train. I brought her some gifts. Could I at least see her?" The elderly woman smiled warmly, as if she understood far more than she could say aloud. "Anna is in the playroom. I'll call her." She disappeared behind a door, and Jackie heard a faint, fragile laughter, rare and delicate. Is she smiling? Then everything's okay. But her heart, on the contrary, clenched even tighter. Minutes stretched into an eternity, and then quick, light footsteps, a rustle. The door swung open, and a tiny figure literally flew into the hallway. "Mama! Mommy, you came!" Anna clung to Jackie tightly, desperately, as if she were the last hope. Her old plush duck hung limply by her elbow. The girl trembled, whether from excitement or fear of losing her again. Jackie couldn't tell. "My little sunshine," Jackie whispered, holding her close. "It's okay, sweetie. I'm here." Anna lifted her face. Her large gray-blue eyes shone with tears and hope, so pure it choked Jackie's throat. "You won't leave me, right? Don't go. It's Christmas." Jackie inhaled deeply and felt something inside her, long locked away, finally open. "I'll never leave you again," she said, surprised at how sincere her words sounded, even to herself. "Do you want to go home?" The girl froze. "Home with you forever?" "Yes, forever." Anna cried softly, almost silently, burying her face in Jackie's shoulder. From the outside, the scene looked as if both of them had finally found what they had been missing their entire lives. Jackie handled the formalities surprisingly quickly. Her name, her connections, her confidence opened many doors. But even if it had been more complicated, she would have gone through with it anyway. Because the girl held her hand, because a light now lived in her eyes, because for the first time in many years, she felt she was taking the only right step. By evening, snow fell in large flakes, filling the city with Christmas sparkle. Jackie carefully placed Anna in the car, wrapped her in a blanket, and gave her a new plush duck. "He looks like yours, doesn't he?" Jackie smiled. Anna hugged both toys to her chest. "But this one will be from you. I'll name him Chris, like Christmas." When they entered the house, silence disappeared forever. Anna's laughter, her light footsteps, her amazed "wow" at the sight of the Christmas tree, all of it filled the rooms with warmth that had never been there before. Jackie watched the girl and felt, for the first time in many years, at home. At home. While they sipped cocoa by the fireplace, Anna suddenly said, "You know, they thought I was strange, that I wasn't myself, but I'm fine." "Of course, sweetie, you're special, not strange." Anna nodded. "And I understand. You're not my real mama. My mother is in the clouds now," the girl said, looking upward. "But I asked the heavens so hard for Christmas for my mother to come back, even a little, even somehow." She smiled quietly, with almost adult understanding. "And then I saw you on that train. You were like light. I knew right away. You are my mama now. Not the same as before, but real. With your heart. You look like her, just as beautiful and kind, and your hands, warm too." Jackie couldn't hold back her tears. Anna hugged her neck and whispered, "Thank you for coming. This is my best Christmas ever." Jackie held the girl close, feeling a quiet Christmas miracle blooming inside her. "And mine too, sweetheart. Mine too." And so little Anna got her mother, and Jackie got what she hadn't realized she was missing: a home, a family, and a miracle arriving just in time for Christmas Eve. And somewhere above, beyond the snow and stars, perhaps Anna's real mother was smiling. That's all. That's my story for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to this channel, and we'll meet again to hear more stories by the fireplace.